Salutare, om bun! Mă bucur că ești prezent la un nou material cu vibrații înalte. Te invit de data aceasta să iei parte la cursul de meditație pentru pace și împlinirea intențiilor. Este un curs la care am lucrat în ultimele luni și care o să aibă ocazia să-ți prezinte această tehnică minunată și te va ajuta din toate punctele de vedere să transformi în obicei această practică și să aduci meditația în viața ta în fiecare zi. Așadar, dacă ești interesat să descoperi mai multe despre ce înseamnă meditația și cum anume poți să îți transformi viața cu ajutorul ei, te invit să iei parte la acest curs care are loc pe site-ul vibrațiinalte.ro și care poate fi urmărit din confortul casei tale, oricând, în propriul tău ritm. Așadar, te invit să accesezi linkul din descrierea acestui videoclip sau din zona de comentarii și nădăjduiesc că vom fi împreună în această călătorie. Dacă ai urmărit orice fel de material, orice fel de meditație din partea proiectului Vibrații Înalte și ai simțit câtă valoare poate să-ți aducă aceste materiale, aș vrea, te rog, să te gândești cu câtă responsabilitate primesc intenția ta de a participa la acest curs și încrederea pe care o arăți, așa că și valoarea pe care eu o să o dau în acest curs este una cât se poate de mare. Om bun! Sper că vom fi împreună și de-abia aștept să povestim mai multe la cursul de meditație pentru pace și împlinirea intențiilor. Îți mulțumesc!
The principle of vibration simply states that there is no such thing as rest, as dead or non-motion, okay? Death, in that sense, is an illusion because true death would be the cessation of all motion and energy. There is no such thing. It doesn't exist. You cannot go anywhere in creation where something is at complete rest. You know, that desk has atoms in it and they're not at rest. They're like in crazy, chaotic motion, especially the, electron clouds of the atom. And if you look at it at a deep enough level, you would see it's like, chaos going on and it's all kinds of motion happening, seemingly at random. If you zoom into that with a powerful enough microscope, you're going to see all kinds of motion and nothing's at rest. Okay, so there is no such thing as true rest. It doesn't exist. If something's in existence, it's in motion. Everything moves, everything vibrates, and at the most fundamental level, the universe and every single thing which comprises it is ultimately pure vibratory energy that is manifesting itself in different ways, different frequencies, different vibratory forms. The universe has no true solidity as such, as we imagine solidity at the macrocosmic level. Matter is merely energy in a state of vibration. And what this is, if we truly understand this, and many sciences are now finally really understanding this and trying to propagate this knowledge out into the public, we will come to the understanding that this is a spiritual construct for experience to be gained, to have an experience and learn and grow in consciousness. That's what the purpose of this whole thing is for, So nothing is truly solid. It's again, like we say, we are spirit having a human experience. The whole universe is spiritual, having a experience in solidity. All right? That's how you have to look at the principle of vibration. The principle of polarity states that everything has a dual nature to it. There are polarities in everything that exists. Okay? Everything has poles. Everything has its pair of opposites. However, opposites, they are identical in nature, but they're different in degree. So let me give you an example of what that means. Are hot and cold really opposites? Or can we simply look at them as the presence of heat energy or the absence of heat energy? Meaning that they're the same thing, energy. And whether it's concentrated in a specific area, which would make it hot, or whether it's absent from a specific area, which would make it cold. Okay? That's what hot and cold are at the fundamental level. At our level of perception, they're opposites, but at the fundamental level, they're the same thing, energy or lack thereof. Just like those three stages of the trivium. Are knowledge and ignorance the same thing? Yeah, actually they are. Because truth is always present. It's a matter of whether it's taken in and processed, or whether it's refused to be taken in and it's not processed. Okay? So it's just like that. They're identical in their natures, but they're different in their degree. Okay? Extremes can meet and blend and, play with each other, like as depicted in the yin-yang symbol, masculine and feminine. They need to be blended. And at some level of reality, everything that is seemingly contradictory may be reconciled. Now again, I stress the term at some level. At the unified field level, everything is consciousness, pure consciousness. However, at this level, there are differences in consciousness. At this level, there are things that are taking place that we need to understand. At this level, there are things that we need to set right and rectify, because it does matter. It does matter. Okay? So, yes, can all paradoxes be reconciled? At some level. In this realm, we need to have our feet on the ground in the physical domain. Let's look at the principle of rhythm. Everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. Okay, so everything has a rhythm to it or a swing to it. There's tendencies that exist in energy. The pendulum swing manifests in everything that we undergo, everything that we perceive. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. It's just an opposite. It's perceived as an opposite. Rhythm will compensate. Now, how this should be understood when we are talking about natural law is many people will say, well, that's just the way the tendency is moving us. It's just the way the tide is taking us, right? But that's not really accurate. Okay? We can't look at these things as that the rhythms are set in stone and it has to be this way now, right? One of the things that a lot of the Hermetic tradition taught regarding these laws, these principles, were they can be overcome by higher levels of consciousness. Okay? This one was one of them. Rhythm is a principle that is a tendency for something to swing a certain way. Let's liken it to genetics. If you look at some newer biology, a lot of modern biologists are suggesting consciousness plays into whether a gene activates or not and expresses a certain condition. Well, this is the same way. There's something that can be done about the swing or the tide. Okay? Let's look at it as you have a boat and you want to row the boat out to sea, right? You have to get past the tide. You have to get past the breakers and the waves. And if that tide's really strong at high tide, it's going to be very much more difficult. You're going to have to expend more energy to get it out to sea. If, however, you were taking it when the current's moving out to sea, okay, there's a flow that's moving outward deeper into the ocean, and you start rowing that boat then, you're going to be able to do it much more easily. Okay, so if there's winds pushing along a plane, it's going to have to expend less energy. It's going to get there more quickly, okay, because it's adding to the energy. If, however, you're flying against the wind, you got to expend a lot more energy. It's just a tendency. You can still get to where you want to go. You may just have to exert more effort. Right now, we're in a tendency of things are not flowing, okay? It's an ebb, all right? And it's something that needs to really have more energy put into it if we're going to resist the tendency. It doesn't mean nothing can be done about it. It doesn't mean it can't be overcome. It means at the time we're living in, okay, we want to make this motion go in this direction, but its tendency is to move in this direction. So more will is required at this time to move the consciousness. At other times, the consciousness may be flowing in a positive direction and it may take much less energy in order to move that consciousness forward. However, we're not living in that time. We are living at what many researchers have called the Kali Yuga, or the age of darkness and destruction. This is the point that resists the flow in consciousness the most. And it's going to take an enormity of effort to break down these pre-existing belief systems that don't serve who we are. So that's the principle of rhythm.